everybody. I hope you are doing well, and I believe it has started. So I just wanted to check in and say hello. My brain is a little bit fried today because I have had a lot of things on that I didn't expect. I went to a Reading in Nature meetup today that I hosted, and met two lovely ladies that I really connected with, and we had quite a long discussion after the actual reading had occurred, and that was pretty cool. And then met a friend afterwards, almost immediately afterwards, that we had a pretty good discussion about as well. So I have started, I think I mentioned yesterday, a audiobook called Atomic Habits. It is very, very fascinating. His story, the author's story is very inspirational, and he has some really good points. And one of them was about the concept of making 1% improvement every day will lead to and generally overall great improvement. So he's quite intelligent. Realize my brain is really not functioning completely well right now. So he's talking about 1% improvements, and he was talking about the concept that habits are hard to maintain, especially if we don't see improvements immediately, and we have to keep maintaining them for them to actually do anything. So meditating every day, you might not see the improvement initially, you might not be as calm as you want to be, but if you slowly do it consistently, then you will reach a breakthrough moment eventually and you'll see the change. He also talked about the concept there are 3 different types of habit making. One is for what you want. Another one is, gosh, I can't remember specifically, so I will get back to you about that. I also read, as part of the meetup, I've started Mel Robbins' High 5 Habit book that I already listened to the audiobook of, but I purchased the hard copy because I wanted to be able to take some points out of it, and one of the first couple of points that I took out of it was the concept that you are your biggest cheerleader. We have probably heard that 1,000 times, but she connects it to the concept that if we high-five ourselves in the mirror every morning, we're putting ourselves first. We are the only one who can hold ourselves back. We are also the only ones who can truly motivate us. There is a few other points that she made, such as the why do we high-five in the morning? Why does she recommend high-fiving in the morning? The point to that is that we rarely get time to ourselves where we are focusing or prioritizing ourselves over other people's needs, and we tend to, in the morning in our bathroom is the very rare few moments we get to ourselves, and often we look at ourselves, or don't even look at ourselves in the mirror, and we totally ignore or don't compliment ourselves enough or celebrate ourselves enough. So there's a lot of other points that I've taken from the book, but I will have to, and basically if you start off the day prioritizing that moment, putting your hand up to the mirror and celebrating yourself, it is very hard to high five and at the same time talk bad about yourself. She actually tried it. She said she tried it. Other people have tried it as well. It's very hard to truly believe or truly see yourself as something bad if you're high-fiving yourself in the mirror. You don't have to accommodate any sort of affirmation to it. A high five is what is all it takes. And again, in correlation with the Atomic Habits book that I was listening to, it kind of makes sense, because initially you might feel like it's a silly action, but after a while it does build your confidence slowly. And there are a lot of testimonies that she has from people who, in any sort of situation, whether people have had cancer, people are in a domestic violence shelter, in other situations that they're not feeling great in, even if they're feeling shit or whatever, high-fiving yourself in the mirror, that has changed their perspective of themselves. And you might not see the changes immediately, you will see subtle changes eventually. And it's pretty interesting. So the other great thing about high-fiving yourself in the mirror is that the high five is often a positive, it has positive connotations to it. Again, like I said, we're so ingrained to believing that the action of high-fiving is so positive that it's very hard to try to convert it into something negative. And which is why it's hard to look at yourself or talk shit about yourself while at the same time touching the mirror. So that was interesting. Another thing that she was speaking about was, I can't remember the scientific term exactly, but she was talking about a type of conditioning that occurs that if you do something that is part of your routine, or associate a new habit with a routine activity such as brushing your teeth, going to the toilet, washing your hands, it helps rewire your brain and not it doesn't freak out your brain that much, and it creates new neural pathways in your brain and stuff. And so that's really interesting. Another thing that she shared was a study that was conducted with children or people at school, and there were 3 different groups. One was a group that was complimented based on their ability, such as, you're so smart, you're so organized, you're really good at this, etc. All these comments to that group were about, their ability, their capability, and all that sort of stuff. The second control group was everyone was told, you can do this, you've got this. They were again given verbal compliments, but more about a motivation rather than an assessment of their ability. And the third control group was just given a high five. The third control group was actually the group that stayed on task and was most productive overall, compared to the first group, wasn't really motivated. They kept stopping their task. They weren't, as motivated. And the middle group was kind of motivated, but they still second-guessed themselves. So that was really interesting to see. That's all I've got for now. My brain is just really not functioning right now, so I'm quite tired, but I've had a good day, and I think just overall I'm a little bit overwhelmed, but we have those kind of days, and that's okay. I am still maintaining the consistent routines in the morning. I haven't been able to maintain the looking for hearts thing as consistently as I had anticipated, but I think I might be overloading myself a little bit with too many new habits, so I am going to stick with just the small ones, like my changes in my morning routine and my evening routine, and I'll get back into finding hearts and keeping myself accountable about that a little bit later. But things that I'm implementing in the mornings include waking up at 6:30 a.m. in the morning with the phone in the other room, as in my bathroom, away from my bed, away from my immediate reach, which requires me getting out of bed to turn off the alarm. I really hate the sound of the alarm, so it forces me to get out of the bed to turn off the alarm. That's another little trick that I've implemented as well, is that you choose an alarm that really, really, really annoys you to listen to, because that, again, helps you get yourself out of bed to turn that alarm off instead of letting it ring and ring and ring and ring, which drives me absolutely nuts. And I have set myself alarms the night before my initial alarm when waking up. When I wake up, I typically have half a glass of warm water, and then half an hour later there's another alarm set, which I take, and I have another glass of warm water with a tablespoon or 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and about half a tablespoon of or to a tablespoon, depending on your required taste, of honey, and that's warm, so it's all mixed through, and I drink that. And then if I'm hungry, I'll typically have my smoothie or something small to eat. I'm not usually hungry in the mornings at the moment, but that could change eventually. I also have that high five habit implemented as well, where when I go into the bathroom after having my warm water to go to the toilet and get ready for my day, I high five myself, and I often incorporate I'm confident in myself and my decisions when I high five myself. And I haven't noticed any immediate changes at the moment, but that's because there are a lot of things going on in my life right now that and I think I've only started this like 2 days ago, so I'll keep you updated about that. Other things that I incorporate is once I've high-fived myself, I typically do my Pilates stretches and my physio stretches or homework, and that usually involves like doing some neck rolls either way, and then forward and backwards, all very slow movements, things like hip circles, ankle rolls, and other types of stretches that I can probably share with you a bit later. So I do about 10 minutes of stretching in the morning. I also do some jumping on the spot, and so after that, by then usually it's time to have my apple cider vinegar, so I have that, and then I have a shower, sit down and do after my shower I sit down and do my to-do list for the day. Usually have at least 2 major goals that are directed towards what I want to achieve, such as I want to achieve financial freedom, so I'm going to invest in actions within my businesses that will mean that eventually it will be automated, such as scheduling marketing posts or messaging a variety of different clients, or messaging subcontractors, or updating my website, sorts of those kind of things. After that, after my to-do list, and somewhere in there I also do a card pull. I can show you one of my card pulls for today. This one is part of my journaling challenge for June, and today's one is fuck it, I am really ready to be myself. So there's usually at the end of the evening some prompts or question prompts. You do not have to do the question prompts or like I don't have to do the question prompts, but they have definitely helped trigger some thoughts in my brain, such as last night, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I had a thought of putting these videos on YouTube. So I am going to investigate tonight, maybe, if I have enough time, because I've got to get ready for tomorrow. I am going to potentially post these on YouTube. Anyway, so that's my card that I pulled today, but I have other cards that I pulled as well as part of my other groups that I'm part of, such as Self-Care for Girls Who Swear and Badass Business Co. So yeah, they're kind of the things that I do in the morning, and within that period of time, that's 2 hours of being off my phone. I do not touch my phone except for turning off my alarm. I had all my notifications muted, so that except for my emergency contacts, so that I do not get distracted during my morning routine. After that, once the 2 hours are typically up, or 1.5 hours, once everything I typically do in the morning is done, I then sit down and meditate. I use an app called Smiling Mind, which is pretty cool. I've also started doing, as a result of my psychologist's suggestion, a thing called tapping. It's more of a calming down physical activity. There is science and psychological effects investigated as a result. I will post who I have been recommended to use. I have only been implementing that over the last couple of days as well, and it is interesting. So I will post those. So Smiling Mind and tapping are the two things I use for meditation in the morning, and my evening routine. Oh, and also I pack away my dishes that I washed the night before. I typically aim to in the evenings. So in the evenings, I tend to turn off my phone at around 8:30 to 9 o'clock. Have set all my alarms for the next morning, and I do not. I have all my alarms set, notifications muted, and I then make sure all my dishes are washed, and then all my stuff is ready for the next day, so food, clothes, etc. Once I've done all of that, I then sit down and I sit down and journal, and then I put on my sleep meditation to put me to sleep, and I'm usually asleep at around 10:30, 11 o'clock at the latest, by the time I'm fully wound down. Oh, and in between all of that, I tend to do some stretches and some exercises as well that I've learned from Pilates as well. So anyway, that's me for today. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your feedback and your comments. Please let me know if there's anything interesting that you would like me to talk about, or anything you'd like to know about me. Please let me know in the comments or in private messages. I will let you know once these are up on YouTube as well, so you can follow me on YouTube as well. That would be pretty cool. I think that is all for now. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the weekend wherever you are, or day wherever you are, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much. See ya.